Should you create a roleplay server inside of ERLC in 2024? Is it still a good idea? Well, in this video, we're going to dive into that. I'm going to give you some good reasons to why you should and some bad reasons to why perhaps you should not create your own roleplay server. If you do find this useful, please drop a like and subscribe. I hope you do. I hope it helps you out. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is that it allows you to do whatever you want with your own rules. For example, if you're in someone else's private server, you can't specifically choose what you want to do with it. Even if you're a high rank, which again will take you a long time and puts you at risk because you can always get fired anyway, you still might not have full authority over what you want to do. However, if you own the server, you can do what you want and no one can tell you any different. For example, if you're the director of a server and one day you just want to decide you want to be the chief inspector of the police department, no problem. You can do that. You can make yourself that role very, very easily. Of course, there are questions to whether you should do that, whether that loses trust within your community. For example, if someone else is already the chief inspector and you then become the chief inspector and pretty much take their job straight away just because you're the owner, people might start to lose trust in you there, but that's a bit of a different topic. The point of this is that you can do it if you really wanted to, whereas in someone else's server, you can't because you get told off and that's up to them to whether they want to do that to their server or not. They might have a different opinion to you. Now the next one is also probably quite a major one, but it's the fact that you can base it off your home country if you wish to with custom liveries. So the biggest thing about ERLC private servers that sets them apart the most is that you can create custom liveries however you want to create them. Yes, in some other Roblox games you can kind of base it if you want and pretend it's in a different area like 5M, but that's not really Roblox based. But in terms of Roblox games, ERLC is the only one where you can actually edit it to be based wherever you want it to. For example, this road here is a 50 miles an hour. Now in the UK where I live, for example, this road would not be a 50 mile an hour. This would probably be a 40 at most, if not a 30. So what you can do is you can come over here and you can change that speed limit because it's your private server. Now yes, you can do that if you're co-owner in someone else's server. However, again, at any point you could just be fired from that role and all of the time and effort you've put into it is a complete waste. So unless you have a huge amount of trust in the owner and you're, kind of joint ownership with the server, then you got to be careful with things like that. Don't waste too much time on someone else's server if you know there's even a small risk that you will be fired at some point, or if you know that at any point the owner could come along and say, you know what, I don't want you here anymore, and ban you straight away. Whilst it's harsh, it has happened, I've heard of it happened, and it can happen to you, and there is nothing you can do about it. And of course I did mention it as well, but custom liveries is a big thing. You can add whatever liveries you want for whatever vehicle. If it's in the UK, you can have UK liveries, and even more specifically, if it's in a part of the UK, for example, if it's in London, you can have London liveries. If it's in another part of the UK, like Manchester, for example, you can have Manchester police liveries. You can do this for anywhere. For example, if you're in the USA, you can do specific state liveries or specific highway patrol liveries, or whatever you wanted to do, you can do that for your own server. And whilst there is other servers similar to that, you won't be able to get as specific as you can if you own the server all to yourself. Now the next thing I want to touch on here is that you can make it completely custom however you want with all of the game passes. So whilst every single private server is still on the same game, and in reality they're all pretty much the same, when you dive into the little bits of roleplay, there are a lot of stuff you can change. For example, these server settings here, if you own all of the game passes, which I will go on to later, there are so many settings you can edit here that will all change up the experience of a roleplay. For example, name visibility. If you want it on invisible so it makes the roleplays a bit better because you can't see people's name tags, you can do that. If you want them visible so it makes roleplays still okay because it's not a big deal, but it will make moderation easier as well, because a moderator can just see someone's username straight away and can just ban them if they're breaking the rules, then that's good. Of course, if they're invisible you don't necessarily know who is who, so you can't ban them straight away. But if you want to edit that, you can. If you want specific ELS colors, you can. If you want it group locked, that's your choice. If you want the length of day to be longer so you can actually enjoy scenes at night time more or in the daytime more, you can do that instead of being under someone else's control and having to do what someone else that owns the server or is above you in the server tells you to do. So there are 3 reasons why you should own your own private server. 3 good things to owning a private server. However, let's talk about the bad things. This is going to be interesting. Now, I've just joined back on to a public server here because I want to talk about how expensive private servers can be. For example, if we go to the servers here, you have to first of all create your own server, which does cost Robux. Already you're in debt with Robux, right? And then if you have your own server, for example, I have this test server here, if you want all of the game passes, that's going to cost you another few thousand Robux. For example, the API pack, already that's 600 Robux gone. Then you want the custom ERLC pack, that's 350. Then you want the custom liveries, that's another 650. And all of these game passes, you get the idea, they add up to huge amounts of Robux over time. And you've got to remember, I will speak about it later, but competition is the biggest problem with ERLC private servers. And if you want to be better than your competition, if you want more players than other ERLC servers, your server needs to be better than other servers. And one way of doing that is by purchasing all of the game passes. It's so hard to grow a private server in ERLC if you don't have all the game passes. If I go over here, you can see all of the top servers pretty much have every single one. There's a few that don't have the API pack and a few here and there, but pretty much all of them I click on, you can see the server packs there. Pretty much all of them have every single one. If you want to be up there, more than likely you're gonna need every single one. That's already a few thousand Robux. And then you've got to consider liveries. People want high quality liveries. That's again the only reason you really choose a specific server based on a specific location is to do with the liveries. If you have a UK server but you have River City Police liveries, what's the point in it being a UK server? You may as well just call it an ERLC strict roleplay server in Liberty County because you're using default liveries. And again, if you've never made liveries before, you can't just go create some and watch a YouTube video and expect to be the best. There are people that have done this for years, graphics designers, people that have a graphics designing job in real life that make ERLC liveries on the side. You're gonna have to compete with them. That's crazy. And if you want the best of the best, you're gonna have to spend thousands, possibly tens of thousands of Robux for a full livery pack within your private server. That's very expensive very quickly. And I have not even spoke about other things like Sonoran CAD, which isn't even Robux. That's a dispatch system that requires real life money that ERLC partnered with. And I haven't even spoken about advertising, which to be honest is probably one of the most expensive things about a private server. You're gonna have to spend tens of thousands of Robux, possibly hundreds of real life dollars to get good advertisements, to even get your server out there and get your server well known. It's very expensive. I'm trying not to put you guys off completely, but I'm just being truthful and honest. That's what this video is about. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about, I've already pretty much spoke about it, but it's competition. There is so much competition within ERLC. You've got to remember, every single ERLC private server owner is fighting to be the best, and there's thousands of them, and they're all pretty much the same. Every single ERLC private server works on the exact same game. The map is exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the way the server is ran and the liveries on the police vehicles. That means your management skills have to be good. It means everything has to be done with loads and loads of detail. You have to really be the best of the best to stand a chance. Now, the reason I say this is, for example, I'm recording this quite late at night, but if we come over to listed servers and for example we search up Florida, we have so many Florida servers here. However, we've got loads at the top here that all dominate the space. Now, for one of these servers down here, they need to think of a way to be better than these servers, which is really difficult because everyone wants to roleplay with a lot of people. This server has 40 people in it. That means there's going to be loads of police officers, a lot of cool scenes, loads going on. This server has one person in it. How are you going to convince people that even though there's only one person in your server at the moment, how are you going to convince people that you are going to grow to be a huge server, and how can you convince people to choose your server instead of one of the bigger servers that already have loads of liveries and loads of awesome features in their server and a professional management team that already have experience in making ERLC private servers. A little side note to this is I would recommend probably working at another private server or another roleplay server, or being a staff member or a moderator there and trying to work your way up the ranks before making your own private server, just so you know specifically how it works, the best ways to go about it. You might have some contacts, like some people to make good liveries, things like that. I would recommend that. But let's move on to the next point, the last point, which is it takes a long time. It will not just happen overnight. You've got to put in weeks and months of constant effort to have SSUs. Probably daily is probably best. You want to be on this listed servers thing as much as possible. You want to be one of these, even if you're right down here at the bottom. People still join these every now and then. When people join, you want to have them in your server for as long as you possibly can without making them leave. You want to explain to them why they should stay in your server, and hopefully the more people you get per SSU, the higher up on the list you get, which means the more people will join and then eventually join your Discord server, and then we'll eventually grow a community. But please just remember, it will not happen overnight. It will take time and dedication and a lot of Robux and possibly real life money as well if you want a professional big roleplay server. Now of course I am talking in this video about huge professional roleplay servers. You can still have a good roleplay server even if you don't want it to be huge. You can just do it with you and your friends and have a really good roleplay server. That's fine. But if you want a big roleplay server, then you're gonna have to put in all this time. A few extra side notes: don't make an ERLC private server if you want money. You will not earn money from ERLC private servers, whether that be real life money or Robux. It won't happen. The amount it will cost will far outweigh any money you will make from it. Yes, you might be able to sell a VIP thing which gives you a custom role in a Discord server, maybe lets you drive a few vehicles in the server, but other than that people aren't going to buy it. And even so, people probably don't want to roll that much, especially if it's not a huge server anyway. And the final and biggest thing for me personally is try and spread awareness about toxicity within the ERLC community. People get so toxic about private servers in ERLC. Please, if you're going to make one, do not get toxic about it. At the end of the day, you are all in the same game. Your servers are pretty much exactly the same. The only thing you own there is a Discord server and a Roblox game server inside of an already made Roblox game that you do not even own. So don't get angry about it. Don't start hating on other servers. Don't get drama or arguments with any other server for any reason. It's not worth your time. Just make your private server, stick to yourself, be yourself, and enjoy your roleplay server. Don't get involved in any drama. It's not worth it. As I said, you are all doing the exact same thing, so bear that in mind and don't get too angry at other people for silly little things. But that is all for this video. Hope it helped you out. If it did, let me know in the comments. Hopefully I didn't kind of put you guys off creating a roleplay server. I'm just explaining the true facts as to, you know, why perhaps it might not be good for you if you can't do all of the things that I kind of mentioned you probably need to do. But thank you very much for watching this video. Drop a like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.